Welcome to Rated ICFS. I'm Robert, and this is Brendan, and we are talking about Roadhouse, I believe.
We are talking about Roadhouse. We'll be showing Roadhouse on July 16th in our wonderful GE Theater, and it's actually part of a kind of mini-series within the ICFS programming that you and I kind of like created the brainchild for last year called, and it's one of my favorite titles that you come up with, so I have to give you full credit on this, Summer Blockbuster Video. I think the title kind of helps explain it all for people, but just in case it maybe still isn't totally clicking with them, why don't you give them a little example of or description of what this is all about for them?
So the idea of the Summer Blockbuster Video series is there are a lot of blockbusters that come out all throughout the summer. We know this. We've grown up with this. This is life in the movie industry. However, that also means there's a lot of blockbusters that did not make money that come out. Specifically, usually in the 80s and 90s, but it goes, and it keeps going through the early aughts to even now.
The 80s and 90s was definitely like the golden era for it, though.
So we've snagged those films that were great films produced with a bucket load of money that probably didn't make that bucket back, but then once they hit the Blockbuster video shelves, they started gaining a huge amount of popularity because they're still big productions with strong actors that go ham, like go all in. And they're great to watch, even if they have really shitty reviews.
Or it's just because it's the newest, most fun take on the Die Hard formula.
Yeah,
it's like they hit it big with Speed because it's Die Hard on a bus. But then, then they started doing like Die Hard on a plane and Die Hard in a mobile home. I'm sure someone probably did that. I'm blanking.
I think these are all Nick Cage movies, by the way.
Well, Die Hard on a plane is absolutely Con Air.
And Die Hard in a mobile home unit is Raising Arizona.
Okay, fair. So yeah, that was kind of the idea that we had initially. And my initial frame of reference when we were first kind of starting to program this and think of ideas was action movies, because that's where a lot of the summer blockbusters were back in the day. But what's got me excited about this slate that we decided to do this year is we've really expanded the genres of movies that we're showing this year. And credit goes to you and Katie, who will be on the show later talking about one of the other movies coming up in this series. Just kind of expand the palette a bit and get us to get beyond just the shoot 'em up crazy action 35th generation of John McClane movies, and so we're actually going to be talking about one of them today, which is the one that I picked for this slate, and that is the Patrick Swayze movie Roadhouse.
Ah, yes.
I unabashedly love this movie. I can't even really give you a great reason why I love it.
You don't have to have a reason. It's
okay. But I love it. It's great. It's cheesy, but like with the exception of, I would say, the main villain, no one really seems to be totally in on the fact of how cheesy it is. And so it's peak Swayze. It's 1989. Yep. He is in great shape. The bouffant perm hair that he has is on point. It's just like top notch. And it's also just, I was rewatching it about a week ago to get myself ready for this.
Yep.
And I was realizing like this is a Western.
Yeah.
This is just the template of a Western. Swayze's character, Dalton, who is like this world-renowned bouncer and cooler that is kind of like goes around to bars town to town all across the country, goes to this town down in the South, to a bar called the Double Deuce, which great name for a bar. Awesome name. Just mwah. Mm-hmm. And he has to bring law and order to the bar and by default to the town as well. And the locals don't take too kindly to that. Least of all, the head honcho businessman. I need to pull up the IMDb on my phone so I can remember who he's played by. So going back to it being a Western, so you have Swayze, who's the new sheriff that's coming to town.
Yep.
Then you have the businessman, rival owner, who is trying to take him down. That's basically every corrupt politician, banker, saloon owner that's been in every old Western in the past as well. And then you have the mentor, played by Sam Elliott in this movie, who is awesome, but it's also incredibly unnerving to see him without his iconic mustache. It's like you've never known him to have a lip of any kind, and then all of a sudden it is there.
Well, sir, I don't like it.
Exactly. Ben Gazzara plays the villain Brad Wesley. That's who I was thinking of. And he was the one who is just like hamming up the hell out of it in every appearance, but it's also magnificent. It's not full on scenery chewing, in my opinion, at least.
So he doesn't go full walk in her cage.
No, he doesn't do the full Malkovich. He doesn't do the full cage. But he's enjoying himself for sure. I would say
that's super important. It's always great to watch somebody just going absolutely ham enjoying themselves.
Yeah, and it's also the other takeaway that I had from this was, the action scenes, fight scenes that they had were pretty solid, especially for late 80s, is when they're just kind of like Americans. I feel like we're really just kind of starting to get into the kung fu of it all and not relying solely on the legacy of Bruce Lee or trying to just do a straight rip off of Jackie Chan or Jet Li. So it wasn't bad, wasn't amazing, but they weren't bad either. But there's also like just generally some pretty good camera work, and the blues band. I guess it's just, I love the blues, but I never once think that they're a money draw. And they have this blues house band that is just like packing in the crowds every single night. Maybe it is a Southern thing. I don't know.
I mean, it worked for Blues Brothers, so
it did work for Blues Brothers, and they were able to save the orphanage that they grew up in. So yeah, that's a quick synopsis of Roadhouse. I just think it's a real blast. I think that it absolutely fits into our kind of mantra that we set up for this set of programming with the summer blockbuster video, and that it was on paper you think this could very easily do gangbusters. Again, peak Swayze, Sam Rockwell in a key supporting role performance, Kelly Lynch as the love interest, and set in a bar down in the Deep South with plenty of fights. One of my personal heroes, Terry Funk, the legendary wrestler, plays one of the henchmen for Ben Gazzara. And yeah, it's just a really great time. But for whatever reason, I don't have the exact box office numbers in front of me, but I don't believe it really did super great. I think it was a solid hit, but I don't think it was a massive hit.
Yeah, well, it was definitely not nearly on the same level as like Swayze's other two big ones at the time, Dirty Dancing and Ghost, right?
No, I don't think it was anywhere near there, or even like a Point Break. I don't think it was even necessarily did like quite one. Yeah, that would definitely be a good one right there. I mean, like Keanu on the come up, peak Swayze, early Catherine Bigelow work. Like that would be a good entry right there for the summer blockbuster video. So yeah, it. But I think it absolutely started to have a second life in home video rentals, and then later on syndication on cable channels.
Oh yeah, it definitely got played all the time on cable.
That was my first two introductions to it were one, a random Family Guy cutaway.
Roadhouse.
Exactly. Yes, you know exactly the one I'm talking about.
Oh my God, Roadhouse! If that DVD even touches Roadhouse, I will kill you. Roadhouse. Roadhouse.
Ow!
Roadhouse. Roadhouse.
Wait, why are you taking the back way home? There are so many turns.
Roadhouse. 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 Roadhouse.
It got me. It's silly and totally like makes no sense whatsoever, but it got me. And I'm like, I've heard that name before. Isn't that like a movie or something? Sure enough, a little while later, start seeing it on TV, and it's like it's always in like constant rotation on whether it's on like AMC or TNT, or it's not Spike anymore, whatever they've renamed it as.
Is that FXX?
maybe it's FXX or Paramount Network or whatever. But it's always on one of those cable channels. In any case, shouldn't have too much trouble being able to find it. I was able to find it, in the last week or so for free on Amazon Prime. So if you're a Prime subscriber, then that's your little ticket to get your fix of Swayze.
Not a sponsor.
Not a sponsor. But give us money. No. So yeah, it was. It's a really great time. Like I said, I was introduced to it through the magic of cable TV, and it just clicks for me, and it works even when it really, frankly, probably shouldn't in a lot of ways. You get it it has something for everybody. It's got the sort of like the bar rescue type elements, where it's like showing how to properly run a bar and fire people who are like stealing from the till and over pouring on drinks and all that kind of stuff. I feel like John Taffer took like half of his playbook from Roadhouse for the bar rescue show, because he's just like, oh, you can't do that, shut it down. And in any case, so you have that, and then obviously you have the beefcake aspect to it, because like we've been saying, it's peak Swayze, the perfect hair, great body,
just delicious.
He's shirtless doing Tai Chi out on a farm. There's like really artsy love scenes where they're on the roof of a farm. Like it's got something for everybody. Maybe not so much the kids, but
I mean, you can
get
leave
a
them
sitter,
at home.
leave them at home.
Yeah,
enjoy 90 minutes, 2 hours of Swayze and Sam Elliott just having a real good time on screen.
Yeah. So I'm gonna run back with you through what we've done this last year.
Yeah.
Because this is the second year of our Blockbuster video series.
Yes.
So hitting up the last one, you're going to tell me the one thing you love about each of the movies we've shown before.
Okay, great.
All right. So let's go all the way back to Demolition Man.
Oh, man, I can only pick one thing.
Yeah, that's why this is hard. You can pick one thing, but if you want to stretch that one thing, you can.
I'm going to say Wesley Snipes. He is much like we were talking about how Bangaraza is just like a blast in Roadhouse. Wesley Snipes is having the time of his life in Demolition Man, and he is like at like the peak of his charisma and acting ability and martial arts skills and physicality and all that in that movie. And plus, like, the bleach blonde mohawk is also pretty sweet too.
Oh, well, so, yeah.
So, like, that for me, I'm gonna say Wesley Snipes is my favorite part of that whole movie.
This is an awesome part of that movie. Face Off.
I was probably dreading this one even more, just having to isolate it to one. This is going to be so weird and messed up to say, but the fact that they set up the story in a cold open with Nicolas Cage murdering John Travolta's son because he was trying to assassinate John Travolta and miss, like they were on a carousel or something, right?
Yep.
And so he fired it, and it was kind of like the classic Duck Hunter Space Invader saying, you should have shot where he was going to be instead of where he actually was in that moment.
Rookie mistake.
Exactly. And he ended up shooting Travolta's son and killing him instead of killing John Travolta. So just to have the guts to open up an action blockbuster movie with, at the time, two of the biggest stars in Hollywood.
Yep.
By murdering a child is so unbelievable.
It was a brave choice.
It's a bold move by John Woo.
Yeah. In one of his first American outings, if I remember.
I think so, which I think is why there is a little bit of some restraint by John Woo standards.
Well, I mean, certainly not on the Dove budget.
No, because I feel like there's more Dove and slow-mo action in like Mission Impossible 2.
All right.
So, like I said, there was a little bit of restraint. They like somehow managed to rein him in a little bit, and then through whatever successes they had, they're just kind of like, here's all the money later on. do the most wooey thing you can possibly think of.
Woo!
And he absolutely did. He wooed it out in like Mission Impossible 2 and countless others. But Face Off, that's a hell of a way to start off your American career.
Yeah, it's a good start. So here,
Before you get it to the last one, I need to turn the tables on you now.
Oh,
and
all right.
Make you pick favorite moments or things from those first two movies.
all right. I'll start with Demolition Man. I see
Okay.
the tables have in fact turned. So Demolition Man, my absolute favorite part of Demolition Man is not that. my absolute favorite part of Demolition Man was how well Stallone and Snipes played off of each other. Like,
That's a good point.
In there, it's neither of them directly, but that play that they had in between each other, it felt like they actually hated each other, which was great. I don't know that they did, but from what you can see on the film and the way they were going at each other, it felt so good to just be able to see that, like, absolute anger from Stallone because he is restrained, because he has to be restrained.
Right, to play off of what Snipes is doing.
Yeah, and Snipes just goes all the way over with no restraint. It was either wonderfully set up directing, which is what I assume, or some actual action hero rage, which is even better tea.
I have to give a quick honorable mention to the fast food wars and the fact that Taco Bell won them.
I mean,
And
was there
that
ever
was-
any doubt?
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I would have had my money on the Colonel because he's a war veteran. But you know,
All right. And nowadays with social media, I'd put it on Wendy's, but
true. But yeah, just like the fact that Taco Bell A came out the winner and B was then like the purveyor of all fine dining in Los Angeles. That definitely was like, I remember the audience having a good laugh at that too. And like, it's
Yeah.
supposed to be played for a laugh, and it was.
yeah, the comedy of the writers was just on point, just right. And then they get Dennis Leary in there too. So
And then just like, okay, Dennis, take one of your MTV monologues and just go.
just go, just be you.
Yeah.
It's fine. No, all we need is you.
See, according to Cocteau's plan, I'm the enemy. Because I like to think. I like to read. I'm into freedom of speech and freedom of choice. I'm the kind of guy who likes to sit in a greasy spoon and wonder, gee, should I have the T-bone steak or the jumbo rack of barbecue ribs with the side order gravy fries? I want high cholesterol. I want to eat bacon and butter and buckets of cheese, okay? I want to smoke a Cuban cigar the size of Cincinnati in a non-smoking section. I want to run through the streets naked with green jello all over my body reading Playboy magazine. Why? Because I suddenly might feel the need to, okay, pal? I've seen the future. You know what it is? It's a 47-year-old virgin sitting around in his beige pajamas drinking a banana broccoli shake singing, I'm an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Try not to steal any more material from Bill Hicks and just go. Oh, wait, should I not have said that?
Ooh,
Okay.
it's getting spicy.
Get a little
Thanks for the tea. Moving on to
Favorite face-off moment for you?
favorite. Oh, that's got to be the Mexican standoff.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Like, I am boiling this all down into this one, like, seconds long take. But they're just sitting there, guns aimed at everyone. And then Travolta just goes, what a predicament. And I'm like, with the choice. It's so good. And I know it's way better than my Travolta impersonation. But that moment makes that movie live forever in my mind.
There's a really great, fascinating video that Nick Cage did. I think it was with GQ, where
Only one?
where he was talking about some of his like most iconic characters and performances. Talks about Face Off and how much free reign John Woo gave them to make those kinds of choices, to be Nick Cage playing John Travolta playing Nick Cage, and John Travolta playing Nick Cage playing John Travolta.
It brought out the best in them.
I really kind of did. So okay, now that we have both kind of given our favorites from those two movies, we should talk about the first one that was in the series for this year that we were not able to get to in time.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that is the excellent Arnold Schwarzenegger film, Conan
the Barbarian.
Where, again, we've been talking about how Roadhouse is peak Swayze. This is, like, at least from a physical standpoint, this is absolutely peak Arnold.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't think he had his acting chops anywhere near his peak in this movie like he does later. And Terminator 2 Judgment Day, say.
But it's still better than Mr. Freeze.
But that's a really fun, ridiculous romp. And James Earl Jones as Thulsa Doon, for me, is probably my favorite part of the movie. It's just fantastic. I'm always going to love that voice in whatever he's doing or saying. Yep. So what about you? What would be your...
So this one's a real weird one. This was my introduction to I guess not high fantasy, but fantasy.
Okay.
This was the first fantasy thing I consumed as a child on TV.
Wow.
So it's straight up the just dopamine rush of nostalgia. And I'm a huge nerd. I play a ton of D&D games now, and it is because of Conan the Barbarian. It's so good. I mean, it has everything you want. It is over the top. It is ridiculous. It was a bit bloody for me as a wee baron, but you get over that.
So do you typically play as a barbarian now when you're doing D&D, or do you switch it up?
Oh, I've played every class except mage. Okay. Because wizards are cheaters.
Well, on that note, I think maybe it's probably a good time for us to give a little wrap up. But we should mention one more time that we'll be showing Roadhouse in the GE Theater on July 16th. As always, there will be drink specials. We'll have some trivia. We'll have some prizes to give away. Don't know what the drink special is yet, but you can almost be guaranteed that's going to be a great one, and you will have a really great time. So come on out for that.
Yeah, don't miss it.